The link building I did was really in citations and local business. I'll broadly say directories. Okay, so yes, we did that. I didn't do any outreach to sites linking to competitors, for example. No, this was largely on, I say again, just posting what I believe to be quality content on very specific topics.
And just curious from a content production standpoint, who is writing the articles? Do you outsource these things? Does the owner of the site write it?
No, so my client essentially gave me a carte blanche to create topics based around topics that we had previously agreed on. I researched the KGR. What I did was then, I'm happy to elaborate on this because I think it's quite important if you want. And I wrote out the outline, and then a locally based writer, who I'm more than happy to share details with, wrote the article. But it was all based on the outline and the ideas and the concepts that I'd written. So I would give it to Laura. A couple of days later, a week later or whatever, would come out with 2,000 words. But then what is in the article, whether it's calls to actions, graphs, charts, and so forth, are so important as well to the quality of that content. So finding that magical keyword, creating a title and various headings and content, and then giving it to Laura, who wrote very, very well.
Awesome. About how long was the outline? How detailed are these?
That's a good point. My method for creating an article, and it's really any article, is if I've given myself a heading, I try and answer the question myself before even doing anything else. So let's just say it's the best road bike under £2,000. And I say, well, what? And I'd ask myself, and I'd be documenting this. It's a bit of a brain dump onto a Word document, and I'd put it in headings and think, well, what might it be? So you've got the frame, looking at my bike. You've got the frame, you've got the handlebars, you've got wheels, you've got a seat, you've got clothing, whether that's to do with the bike. And then so each of those could be a heading. And then so those are my initial thoughts. And then you go and look at what is on page 1 of Google, and you must be the best answer. And then you fill in the blanks with what they are saying. So you then end up with, I'll say a long list, but certainly various headings and bullet points that I can then pass to our content writer to, I'm not going to say fill in the blanks, but it gives her a great start to write about a topic when you're saying, these are the top 10 links, this is what they are saying, these are the headings I want. So she has a flow that she can then follow. I find it's quite a good practice as well. Again, just to try and, even if you're just reading a newsletter, for example, let's say an email about marketing, for example, or search engine optimization, and it might have the 20 greatest link building tactics ever known to man. And so before clicking that link, I'm going to see, I try and test myself and go, okay, what are they? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I might come out with 15, let's say. And so I'll go and read the article, and are my assumptions right? Are they wrong? Having a crack at it, first of all, and then going to see what Google ranks. Combining those, I think you get a longer and potentially fuller article.
And just a quick summary. So often you'll have a keyword in mind that you've worked with, or with a client, you have the keyword research done. You will do a brain dump. You'll get your initial questions, your thoughts. Then you'll do sort of a gap analysis between your brain dump and, say, the top 10 results on Google. And then you patch up the holes. And when you do a gap analysis, you're able to see, like, okay, we need these topics covered. And then I would guess your outlines range from 1 to 4 pages, depending on how many details you add.
Spot on. That's
Okay.
it. I think as well as that, when you found that keyword golden ratio keyword, what I would also do is go and look at who does rank already for these before you've even made the decision to go with it. This is where also keyword research tools come in handy, because if the top 10 are just real beasts of sites with a really high domain rating, or the keyword difficulty is really high, then you might want to consider looking for another keyword. So I guess the ideal solution would be to be in the keyword golden ratio for a start, to have those ranking on page one are of a low domain authority, domain rating, and the keyword itself is a low keyword difficulty. Now that might be trying to find a unicorn, but if from a cursory glance the top 10 results in Google aren't really, really, really all authoritative, you might have 2 or 3 lower authority sites. If you see those, then I believe you have a far better chance than if they were just the BBC, New York Times, Ernst & Young Consulting, or whatever. It's worth spending time looking at the keyword ratio, golden ratio, the actual keyword, and seeing who ranks for it already, even if it's just a bit of a gloss over, because it is quite time consuming. I'd spend 2 or 3 hours looking for the keyword, preparing the brief, and preparing the brief. So,
gotcha. And I know a lot of people are wondering, how much are you paying for the content? So say for a 2,000 word post, if you can share that.
Yeah, so I would pay between UK pounds, probably between 80 and 120 pounds to, so what's that, $140 probably,
okay,
to write that article.
Okay, cool. And that's a local person,
Yeah.
in town. Yeah. And I'm curious, and we were chatting about this before, I found it a little interesting, but what does the client think about the additional traffic that she's getting?
Well, it's funny. So my client has a full-time job anyway. So the website that I'm creating content for is ideally a business that she can take and run with when either her contract finishes or she decides to move on. So she loves the amount of traffic she gets, but she does work full time in an existing job anyway. So how much time she really spends on this site is entirely up to her. I don't think it's particularly much, simply because she's working full time elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But as an exercise in building a very small business website and getting good traffic from just 20 posts, I'd do it till I would do it until the cows come home. It seems to work.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, it's kind of cool, thinking of like a side hustle. When she's ready, perhaps she can. I mean, it looks like the traffic trajectory, which we'll share the graphs and stuff for the folks that can see on YouTube. Basically, it's going up quite rapidly, and perhaps she'll have something to go to and have customers, potential customers, when she's ready to do it. So as we're finishing up here, there's a lot of agencies out there. There's a lot of marketing folks. If they're looking to recreate the success that you're getting for your client, do you have any tips for them to, obviously you said, quality content is number one, but any other tips for sort of like maybe packaging this up or marketing like KGR to get quick wins for your clients?
I wonder if I would go to a client and say, I would use the keyword golden ratio. I think it would just be way over the head, because I think most small businesses are skilled at what they do. When I discuss SEO with clients, it sometimes just goes way over their head. And all they want is, let's say, content creating or to rank higher in Google. How you actually go about that, that's just getting into the nitty gritty. It's not sort of you're doing anything illegal. It is just a tactic that we use, get traffic and rank websites. What you could do is to say, this is a business's website that I've ranked in the past. I can now go to clients. I'm not saying now go to, but I go to clients and I say, look, I'm now getting 6,000 unique users a month, and this is what I can do for you as well. Of course, you then have to put meat on the bone and discuss the actual tactics that you're going to be building with them. But the overall principle is that this is what I've done for client A. Now let's do it for client B. But at the end of the day, it really is. You have to be the best answer. You absolutely have to be the best answer. If you are only as good as what is already there, then you don't stand a chance of ranking. Be the best and write quality content, and that also involves nice images. It might be charts and graphs. It's quality content at the end of the day. That's what I'd advise.